So this afternoon we are talking about why strength training isn't optional. Today is World Osteoporosis Day. I've been researching this for 4 years now since I was diagnosed with osteoporosis, and strength training is a crucial part of ensuring strong bones and many other benefits as well. So I'm talking to Kerry today from Happy Body Pilates even. And
Indeed.
are going to be talking about why it isn't optional, what all the benefits are, what happens if you don't do it, and how to get started. So, Kerry, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Helen.
Great.
Great to join you today. Yes, I am a Pilates teacher and also a strength trainer. Um, and before that, I used to work in the corporate world, and that's how we know each other, obviously.
Yep.
And it's not something that I would ever want to go back to. So I am in love with movement, and I love teaching people. I love teaching people how to move better, to learn how their bodies move, and hopefully tune into their bodies a little bit more and in particular at the moment I'm really interested in strength training, but I love the combination of Pilates and strength because it's a really powerful combination. And whenever I'm not necessarily teaching people but I'm doing my own strength training, I have my Pilates hat on the whole time and make sure that my joints are aligned and I understand where my body parts are just to get the most out of strength training. So yeah.
So, shall we start by talking about what is strength training? Because I'm sure it seems to be a
Yeah,
bit of a trendy thing at the moment. Lots of people are talking about it, but I think there's probably a lot of confusion out there. What are we talking about?
I agree. I think it's definitely trendy in that it's in the news a lot. But I don't think it's a fad. I think it's here to stay. So strength training is anything that involves a way of resisting the body, and that could be body weight exercises. You don't even need to hold weight. So a squat without holding anything is a strength or resistance based exercise.
Yeah.
Anything obviously involving lifting actual weights and even using resistance bands. So anything that involves putting a little bit of stress, and by stress I actually mean good stress, on the body
Yeah.
to stimulate muscle growth, to stimulate bone growth, bone health. And of course, because you mentioned it already, it's particularly important for people with osteopenia or osteoporosis because it has such amazing benefits for our bodies. So I think it's as simple as if you think about, yeah, anything that is resistance based, even Pilates actually in some ways can be seen as
Mhm.
resistance exercise or body weight exercises, but really we should be lifting weights.
Absolutely. And also I say to people all the time, tell people about, even carrying heavy shopping bags.
Yes.
Even simple things like that. So you might not fancy going to the gym and lifting weights, and we're going to go into more detail about what you can do, how you can
Yeah.
get started. But just carrying heavy shopping bags, that's you're putting some stress on your muscles. You've got to work.
100%. But to be able to keep carrying those heavy shopping bags, I think is the reason why we should be doing strength training.
Yeah.
If you want to keep getting up and down from the floor with some ease, if you want to get bend down and play with children or grandchildren, things like that. I think we've got to think about, why do we need to do this? Well, it's because you want to keep being able to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And it's always a case of use it or lose it. If you don't use your muscles, they are going to wither away, unfortunately. And as we're aging,
Yeah.
we suffer from muscle wastage in any case as part of aging, unless we use them, which is where strength training comes in. Also, eating
Absolutely.
enough protein, but we're not talking about nutrition today. So definitely use them. Use it.
100%. But I mean, I think the nutrition element does play a part. I
Yeah.
know we're not going to go into detail, but 100%. If you're lifting weights, you want to make sure you're getting enough protein, obviously, to support that muscle maintenance or muscle growth.
Exactly. And I think also a lot of people don't really realize that bones
Be
are
gross.
living tissue. You kind of
Yes.
think that they're probably dead, but they're not. They're rebuilding. They're breaking down and rebuilding every single moment. And
Absolutely.
I
It's
think
so
you're,
cool.
yeah, I know it is, isn't it? Like your whole skeleton's remodeled every 10 years, which you can't quite imagine.
No, and you can't feel it. So it's like you
No,
can't, it's hard. Obviously you can't feel it. You
no,
can't
it's
really get
invisible.
your head around that. But I think if you think about it, like if you break a bone, it will heal
Yes,
in usually 6 weeks,
yes,
depending on what you did, right? So that is, I guess,
exactly,
just one example of your bones regrowing, rebuilding. They will heal,
exactly.
they heal. And I mean, I think this is your story. If you've managed, am I right, to reverse some of your osteoporosis, right? Because you
Yeah,
do strength training.
yeah. So I've got the nutrition thing in order, which you would expect from a nutritionist, but
I
also
should
the
hope so.
strength training is really important because every time you put some stress on your bones, well, on your muscles, the muscle is pulling on the bone and it's sending a signal. So it's so important. And what happens if we don't do any muscle
Wow.
training?
Look, as we age anyway, like you already alluded to, we lose muscle, right? You can do stuff to maintain, but if you're not, then that process is going to accelerate. And I think it's especially for women as we're hitting menopause and post-menopause, even more so, that rate accelerates of like losing that muscle, that process of sarcopenia, right?
Yes,
So then we have, risks of um, falls, right? I don't want to be all doom and gloom here, but it's the truth, right? Falls, and therefore there's the risk of fractures,
yes,
right? And then breaking those bones.
yes,
There's the general potential loss of independence later in life. There's the risk of chronic diseases, right? Type 2 diabetes and things like that. And I believe you can even reverse diabetes
yeah,
with
you
the
can.
right diet and with
Yeah,
exercise. You
absolutely.
will know more than that, right?
Yeah,
But
absolutely. Yes, I'm talking about that every day. But yes, absolutely. So people don't realize we know so little about the average person knows so little about their bodies and how they work. But you just because we're not taught it, which is a shame and it's shocking.
no, that
But it's
is
never too late. It's never too late to learn.
100%, 100%.
Um,
I believe there's studies that even people in their 70s and 80s can build muscle and gain strength.
yeah,
So
absolutely,
you're right that it's never too late to start. Even if you've never lifted a weight in your entire life, like
absolutely.
you can start at any age. I mean, I'm running a strength program at the moment. It's a group of 10 of women, and they are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. And they are doing amazingly well, getting amazing results. We're
Yeah,
nearly at the end of the 8 weeks. Some of them started lifting 1, 2 kilos, and now as the weeks progressed, they're lifting heavier weights than that.
yeah,
So even if you start small, I think that is the thing. You just have to start,
yeah.
and 1 or 2 kilos or any
Or even
resistance,
body weight, as you already
even
mentioned, even body weight.
exactly,
So,
exactly. Even
so
body weight will start to make a difference.
so what kind of exercises do you recommend for if you're somebody starting with body weight?
So I think there are, for me, 5 main movement patterns. And I think that's a squat.
Yeah,
Learn to do a squat and learn to do it well. And you don't need weights. You could just do
yeah,
good body weight squats. Then there's the lunge, the
yeah,
good old lunge, right? One foot forwards, the other
yeah,
foot back,
yeah.
lunging well. And then there's learning to hinge. I think people really struggle with that, but a hip hinge. So there are exercises. I don't know why they're called good mornings, but they're called good mornings, right? Which is,
I know. Yes, yeah.
don't know why. There's a reason, I'm
I
sure.
don't know. Yeah,
But an exercise called good morning, which then leads you into exercises like Romanian deadlifts, right? Where you can obviously add in the weights. And then a push and a pull, like learn to do a push up,
yes,
even if it's on your knees.
yes,
What a great resistance exercise for upper body.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
anything that involves pulling,
Yes.
right? Pull something towards you.
Hmm.
Whatever that is, right? Could just be a resistance band pull.
Yeah,
So I think those are the sort of the 5 key movement patterns
yeah,
that we can easily do at home. You don't even need to go to a gym. I think that's the other thing. People feel a bit intimidated. If they've never stepped foot in a gym before and you're 50, 60, or
yeah.
70,
I
you
agree.
might not be inclined to go to a gym. And I get that.
Yeah. I
But you can
agree.
do it
I
at
agree.
home, right?
Yeah, and but people need to learn how to do it properly, though, don't they? They need to learn the correct technique. Mm.
100%.
Good.
There's obviously always a risk of injury when you start to exercise, but if you're under someone who is going to guide you along the way, if you're not just going to go into a gym and suddenly try and use all the
Yeah,
machines,
yeah,
I would definitely not suggest that, especially if you're new to
yeah,
exercising or just at least new to weightlifting. So 100%, it's got to be structured, it's got to be guided. You can easily do it at home because, there's ways. Look, we all went through it for COVID times. We all had some experience of probably doing something online, right? So online programs work brilliantly, I think.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
follow online videos. Do you?
Sometimes I actually prefer to go in person to the gym and do my strength training, but that's just my preference. Yeah,
100%.
I,
And I personally do a mix of both. Like I will do my home workouts, and I will see my personal trainer and
yeah,
therefore go to a gym,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Um, but yeah, there are so many ways. I think we've said this already. You just have to get started. And once you start, then I think there has to be a consistency element because if you want to see changes, there has to be consistency. There has to be the 2 to 3 times a week.
2 to 3 times a week. That's what I was going to ask you. So why do you think so many women are reluctant to start thinking about doing
I
some strength
think I
training?
think there's the an intimidation factor. I
Yeah,
think there's the fear factor. Oh, I've got a dodgy knee, I've got a dodgy shoulder, I need to be careful,
yeah.
Um, I think there's so that is what I think. And
Do you think there's
yeah,
a
just
fear?
not really knowing who to go to, where
Yeah,
where to look. Where to start. I think that there's confusion. There's so much written about it. Like we said earlier, we see it in the news, and everyone's offering this and that. Um, but yeah, I get it. It can be hard to find, like, okay, who am I going to trust here to
yeah,
help me start?
yeah.
Um,
I mean, do you think there's a fear also? I mean, there's probably lots of fears. There's always a fear and inertia with trying something new. But do you think
mhm.
some people, are, women especially, are worried about bulking up? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's an interesting one. I definitely hear that a lot. In fact, I even hear it from my mother-in-law in her 70s who just can't get her head around lifting a weight because she's worried about getting bulky.
yeah.
I'm 45 and I'm trying to bulk up and I'm struggling.
I know, but
It's not
you've
it's
got
not
great
easy.
you've got great muscle definition. So if you want to bulk up, and most of us don't want to bulk up,
Most,
we just
most of us
want to be
don't, but
strong.
it will take so much effort. You would
Yeah,
have to be in the gym, I think, almost every day. You probably need to be on a high calorie diet to bulk
yeah.
up.
And
And you
eat
need to
lots
be
of
on a
protein.
serious structure program and
Yeah,
eating a
yeah.
ton of meat
Yes. So that's
or
not,
whatever. You might be high quality protein.
yeah, so that's not what we're talking about here.
And we're not talking
No,
about that
we're not.
because, like I said, it would take so much time and effort.
Yes, exactly.
So, so it's
Um,
not about that because I think what might be helpful is to not think that muscles are can for some people it's an aesthetic thing. They want muscles for show,
yes,
but muscles are have a utility purpose. They're
they,
like they're our engine,
they are.
right?
They are. And I think it's important to point out because I speak to so many women who, are worried about weight, and especially post-menopause, putting on weight. And
Yes,
so they're just hitting the treadmill and they're running. And that is probably the worst thing that you can do to up the cardio because
I
you're
agree.
increasing your stress hormones. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that the more muscle mass you have, the greater your metabolic rate. So it's the only way
At
to get the
rest, right?
muscle is to increase your metabolic rate. So you're burning more energy, more calories just
Yes,
at rest.
yes,
Um,
yes.
Most people don't realize that.
Absolutely. One of the ladies in my strength program, because I did not promise that you're going to lose weight, right? But she has said that she can feel and see on her clothing that she has lost weight. And I think she was surprised by that.
Yeah,
And
because
I
you
was
might be
like,
losing inches or centimeters rather than necessarily
yes,
the
it
scale.
might not,
Yeah.
that's true. It might not show up on the scale, and the scale number shouldn't matter because it's more about body composition.
Yeah, exactly. What you look like. If you can get into a dress size smaller. Isn't that better? No matter what it says on the scale.
100%. The scale shouldn't matter.
Exactly.
So yeah, exactly. So yeah, because I think so we've talked about that. So yes, there's you're not going to get bulky, you're just going to get strong. And you might not look stronger, but you're going to potentially feel stronger, if that makes sense, before you look stronger, before you
Yeah.
see, oh, look, I got a bicep
Yeah.
or
Absolutely.
whatever. So yeah, but it's also very individual. And I think, yeah, sometimes you just sort of got to push past that fear and really like look at, okay, well, why is this important?
Yeah.
Why do I need to start? And this is for our long-term health. This is for health span because we want to be healthy as we age. We don't want to just age and
Yeah.
then feel like, okay, well, I'm struggling in my 70s. I've
Yeah.
lost my balance, I've lost my independence, etc. Right?
Yeah, so very important. Another thing to note also that the more muscle mass you have, as we get to menopause, go through menopause, we become more insulin resistant. We can't process carbs as well, so we're more likely to become pre-diabetic, diabetic. And so the muscle is an amazing soak for glucose. You've got
Yes.
more muscle, you've got more muscle to store some glycogen in, some glucose. So it's really, really good. There's just so many benefits, and it's good for your brain as
That's
well.
100%. And exactly, good for your brain. So you're for mentally as well, right?
Yeah,
Emotional
makes you
resistance,
feel good.
resilience, and physical resilience.
Yeah,
There's so many benefits. I Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you start?
yeah, absolutely. So how do people get started? I know we've slightly touched on that, but what would you recommend, and
I think
how can
if
you help?
if somebody hasn't yet started with Pilates or strength training, because I think Pilates is a good start because I think it teaches amazing body awareness. So if you're doing both, you're winning, in my opinion. And if you're doing one or the other, start with one. I think start with one or the other, right? But if I were to choose, I know I'm a Pilates teacher, but I would say start with strength training if you can. If you're not sure and you'd rather start on a mat without any weights and you just want to use your body weight, then start with Pilates. But start something. Start at home because there's that less feel you might not want to go to a gym, and I get that. It's also cheaper to be at home. um, I'm running an online program at the moment, and it's a small group of 10. And there's the live element, so we're on Zoom, and I watch people. And then there's also the option where you also have to do your work at home,
Yeah,
right? So two sessions a week on your own at home, and you're following guidance. You're following a video, so you're going to be taught, even though it's not live. You're still going to be taught. Also, you can't expect to be perfect straight away, so you've got to give yourself time. You've got to be patient and wait for the changes to come.
yeah,
And it's just a matter of, okay, start once a week. Okay, that wasn't so bad. Okay, add on the second session a week. Okay, I'm getting used to this. Add on the third session a week. 2 to 3 sessions a week. And that's what the NHS recommend anyway in terms of strength guidelines, I
yeah,
think.
they do. Yeah, absolutely. So anybody that's interested in maybe having a look at your online sessions, how do they get in touch with you?
So my next strength program starts in January, and
Okay,
they can go to my website, which is happybodypilates.co.uk,
okay,
and head to programs, and that's where you'll see like my strength training programs that
yeah,
are currently running and that are coming up really soon. And I think that the other thing is once you've got started, then it's just a matter of maintaining that strength journey.
yes, yeah,
Is so important because I think if you're going to spend 8 weeks following a program and then just stop,
yeah. There's no
that
point. No.
there's no point. Like you've got to be in it to win it. Another cliche, right?
Yeah. It is, but I mean, I can't overemphasize, how good it feels to be strong. To feel that you can lift, you can lift your own suitcase in the overhead locker, whatever you want to
100%.
do. Just
100%,
be
because
independent.
exactly
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to. Like I have a 6-year old. She doesn't need to be picked up necessarily anymore, but sometimes she calls it an uppy hug. She wants to be lifted. She's she I mean, she's not light. She's not a light little girl, but it's so much easier to lift her. Like I can walk around carrying her, and she weighs over 20 kilos, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing this so that, I can lift her, and I can be independent and fine. I'm 45, but I'm trying to do this for me personally to see me help me through menopause when I get there. It's coming.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, but it's wherever you are, whether you're perimenopause,
Yeah.
post, older, it's never too
Well,
late. It's
it's
just
never too
important
late.
to start, to get started, and
100%.
then enjoy the benefits. You'll see the benefits, you'll feel the benefits, and it can really help. It's a really anti-aging, good anti-aging strategy.
100%, 100%. And I'd recommend it to everybody. There's always a safe way to start with everybody. And
Yeah.
if you're not sure, then you go to a gym or you see a PT or you talk to somebody like me. There's always a way to
Way.
start.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything else we need to cover? Connie?
Oh, we covered a lot, I think.
Everything. Good. All right. So I think that's it for now then. So anybody that's
Yeah,
got any questions, get in touch with both either of us, one of us, both of us.
absolutely.
Um, yeah. Okay, well we'll end it there then. Thank you, Kerry. That was really helpful.
Thank
I hope it
you.
inspired somebody, even if it's just one person.
I hope so. Even if it's
Really.
just one person,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, one person at a time. Okay. All right. Brilliant. Thanks,
Exactly.
Kerry.
Thank you.